Hey, it's Anika, and today we'll be making a game from what we've learned in the previous lessons. First, let's go over how to generate random numbers. In Java, you can generate a random decimal between 0 and 1 by writing math.random. Let's assign this to a variable called random number. If we want to get a decimal number between 0 and 10, we just multiply math.random times 10. We can convert this to an integer, like this. This would give us integers between 0 and 9, instead of 0 and 10, since Java always rounds down. Finally, if we want to start at 1, we just add 1 to this, and we get a randomly generated number between 1 and 10. Let's print this out, and if we run this, we get a randomly generated number between 1 and 10. Now, let's work on our first game, Guess My Number. We have to generate a random number between 1 and 50 and make the player keep guessing the number, or what the number is, until they've chosen the right number. We also want to print out how many turns the player took to find the correct number. You can get started on this project. If you need a hint, here is what we've gone through in these past few sessions. Which statements can you use to check whether the user's number is too high, too low, or just right? And how can you keep on repeating doing this? Let's go over the game now. First of all, we need user input. We'll prompt the user for input, but we'll not take the user's input just yet. Then we need to generate a random number from 1 to 100. Let's assign a variable int random number. An int random number would be this. Now we need a loop for this, because we want to continue asking the user for their number until they get the correct number. A good loop to use for this program would be a for loop. That way we can keep track of how many tries the user has taken. Let's build a for loop. We want 4 int turns to equal 0. So we've made a variable that keeps track of the number of turns the player takes. Then, since we want this to keep on going, we'll say turns has to be greater than or equal to 0. And since each iteration of this loop is a new turn, we want turns plus plus. So each time the user has used one more turn. Do take into account that if we don't add any break statements, this loop will go on forever. That's because turns is increasing, and as long as it's increasing, it'll never be less than 0. Inside of the for loop, first we want to get the user's input. We'll say int your number equals in.nextInt. Then we want to check if the number is too high, too low, or just right. We'll use if statements. So if your number is greater than the random number, then we want to print out too high, try again. And if the user's number is less than the random number, we'll do the opposite. And finally, if the user's number equals the random number, we want to print something out. And after we print this out, we want to break out of the loop. If we run this, let's see what happens. There. So everything works. If you want to see how this program is done with the while loop, you can check out the Chapter 6 solutions on bit.ly/codingforkidsjava. We also have another project you can work on by yourself. This is mini project number 2, Roll the Dice. This project simulates a board game. Your character starts at the starting position, 0, each time, and when they press the enter button, they move forward by a randomly generated number of spaces. Remember to consider the 2 special rules and look at the hints at the bottom of the screen if you're stuck. We also have the answers for this project on the website as well, so check it out. Thanks for watching, and in the next video we'll go over a new topic, arrays.